Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do just really a short video update on the pole barn project. I've finished up sawing through all the logs that I had set aside for this project. Those really came from trees that were on the building site, so those trees had to come down, and it was really great to be able to turn that into lumber for the project. I mainly focused on 2x10s, which will be for roof rafters, and then 2x4s, which will be used for wall girts and roof purlins. I was able to get a lot of extra lumber out of these logs, from cutoffs that were thick enough to get a 2x out of. And so I've got some assorted 2x8s, 2x6s mixed in here. When I get those extra pieces, I always like to saw them as large as possible. And so I don't really have a need for 2x8s or 2x6s on this project, but 2x8 can become 2x4s, 2x6 can be cut down to 2x4. So if I run short on my primary lumber, that's some backup lumber. But I really prioritized the roof rafters, the 2x10s. That needs to be quality lumber, that needs to stay straight and be stable, not have any really bad knots that could cause a structural issue. So I made, I don't know, 4 or 5 extras of these rafters, just so that when it comes time for construction, I can pick through, choose the best ones. What's left, those again can be sawn into 2x4s or other sizes as needed. And then up on top here, these came out of the last 2 logs. These are going to be the wall header beams, and I cut these at 4x8. Typically in a pole barn construction, you would use a double 2x10 or a double 2x12 for your wall header beams. That's what's going to carry the roof load on down to the posts. But when I did this carport project a couple years ago, I ended up sawing 4x8s. It has the equivalent stiffness to really a double 2x10, and I like being able to use a single beam piece. You don't have to nail the heck out of it to sister 2x10s together. You got a really solid beam here. And 4x8, the diagonal of a 4x8 is more amenable to getting that sawn out of a smaller log. And so that's really the main reason I started gravitating to the 4x8s, is I can saw these out of a smaller log than if I was going after 2x10s. So these will be the wall header beams. They're really nice pieces of wood, very few knots. I was able to keep the grain fairly well centered all the way down the end of the beam. So these will work out good. And then over here I've got some store-bought 4x6s. These will be for the eave wall posts. These are what are going to basically transmit the roof load down through the header beams to the footings. 4x6s are more than sufficient for that. And since lumber is pretty cheap now, I decided it was going to be quicker and easier for me to buy those already treated, just stick them in the ground, not have to mess with sistering a treated small post to a above ground long post, or do any laminations or anything else. Or you could treat with creosote or burn them. That all adds extra time and labor. And so for 20-25 bucks a piece, I just opted to buy the wall posts. And these are 12 footers. By the way, everything else I saw here is 16 foot long. Pretty much pushed the max limits of the sawmill, which the HM122 with an extension gives you 16.5 to 17 feet of saw range. So when you get a big 16 foot 4-inch log on that bed, you're pretty much maxed out, and it has to be positioned just right to get full range out of the trolley and the saw blade. So everything I saw is 16 foot plus a couple inches. These guys are 12 footers. And really the 16 foot requirement came from the roof rafters. Those need to be 15 foot and change. So I had cut all my logs at 16 foot, and just sawed everything at 16 foot long, and we'll work with that. That should give me plenty of extra. And so as I talked about in an earlier video, I've been stacking the lumber on this trailer, and I'm about to move it out into the sunlight. We're going to have a couple days of sunshine here, so I'll just leave it parked out in the sun for a couple days. whenever we're going to get rain, I usually bring it back here under the carport to keep it from getting wet. And really my main focus now is to keep this wood from being attacked by insects and growing mold. And so as you've seen in some of the recent videos, as I stack it, I'm very careful to sweep off the sawdust. That's really the primary reason you get mold this time of year, is having the sawdust clinging to the boards. And so clean that sawdust off, spray them down with a borax water solution. That'll ward off insects and mold. And so far things look really good. I was able to peek deep into the stack the other day, and the boards look beautiful. No mold, no signs of any pine beetles or powder post beetles in there eating the wood. So so far everything looks really good. Now the next few videos, which I probably won't get to for a week or two, are going to be grinding the stumps of the trees that we're taking down on the building site. And then I'll start drilling post holes and pouring footings in those post holes. I'm going to have 4 posts on the eave wall, and again, this is in addition to the carport, so I really only have one wall that's carrying a roof load. That's going to be the new eave wall. That'll have 4 posts, 4 footings, and then I'll really have to come back throughout the project and add more posts to frame in door openings, support the middle of the gable walls. They don't carry roof load, but it's good to have a post there for wind resistance and wind loads. So that all will start unfolding in the next few weeks. But yeah, probably the next video I do is either going to be processing a big stack of cutoffs I got over there. I got a huge stack of cutoffs from sawing all this lumber, or grinding the stumps, and then we'll move on to the post hose and footings, and from there go into the pole barn construction method that I like to use. I'll show you a few things that are not typically done, but that make the job easier on smaller structures under about 32 feet. And we'll start to put this new addition together little by little. So as always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and thanks for watching.